What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and welcome to another My Hero Academia video. Our last video about the top 10 weakest quirks in My Hero Academia received a huge response, way bigger than we were expecting. Some of you agreed with our choices, some of you didn't, but that's perfectly fine, of course, since not only does everyone have their own opinions, but we still don't even know a lot about some of these quirks in the first place, so we don't know for sure what the true potential of these quirks is. One thing we do know is that we received a massive number of requests for a top 10 strongest quirks video, so we felt we had to deliver on this one. And if you want to discuss the best and worst quirks in greater detail, you can join our Discord server, link in the description. If you enjoy our My Hero Academia videos and you want to see more, be sure to Texas smash that like button, shout out to Texas, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Before we begin, it is important to note that for this list, we will be looking at quirks with the strongest combat capability and destructive potential, rather than quirks that are really useful in other ways, such as Recovery Girl's quirk, for example. Also, we will mostly be looking at the quirk itself rather than the user. Some users may not have the greatest quirk, but with their own incredible skill, they are able to make their quirk much more powerful than it would have been in the hands of anyone else. And Hero Killer Stain is a perfect example of that. Stain's quirk is actually pretty hard to activate. Not only does he have to make contact with his opponent, but he also has to draw his blood and lick it. And yet Stain became one of the most deadly fighter in this series because of his incredible skill and dedication. Finally, just because a quirk doesn't appear on this list doesn't mean that we don't think it's powerful. We just think that these are the 10 most powerful, at least based on all the information we have so far. After all, we still don't even know who the number 3 ranked pro hero is, so there is of course a lot more that we need to learn about the world of My Hero Academia, and as we do learn more, we will be happy to post an updated video. And now that we've got all of this established, let's get into it. Just a quick warning, there will be manga spoilers, as some of the quirks and characters in this list haven't even been introduced in the anime yet, so proceed with caution. At number 10, we have Foldabody. Foldabody is a transformation type quirk that allows the user to fold and stretch his body, giving him incredible strength and agility. The user of this quirk is Edgeshot, the number 5 ranked pro hero. This quirk is similar to another quirk in the My Hero Academia world called Pliabody, which is possessed by the pro hero Tiger. However, Foldabody is much stronger because Edgeshot is capable of transforming his body faster than the speed of sound, and he uses this immense speed to turn his quirk into a powerful offensive weapon. He can even twist and turn his body into a sharp weapon and then use it against his opponents. Edgeshot demonstrated the impressive power of his quirk during the Hideout raid arc, when he knocked Kurogiri unconscious before anyone else even noticed what was happening. It is no wonder that Edgeshot made it into the top 5 strongest pro heroes with this powerful quirk. But the quirk itself is not the only reason Edgeshot is so strong. Edgeshot is a good example of someone who improved upon an already strong quirk with rigorous training. So even though the quirk is strong on its own, it is made yet more powerful as a result of his discipline and determination. For this reason, we had to include this quirk in our top 10 strongest. At number 9, Dragon Form. Well, the exact name of this quirk is unknown, but I'm just gonna call it Dragon Form in this video. This quirk is possessed by Ryukyu, the number 9 ranked pro hero, and it allows her to transform into an actual dragon. Even though we still don't know too much about her quirk, we do know that in her dragon form, Ryukyu becomes massive in size and extremely powerful. She is able to deal with very strong villains on her own and without much trouble. She also has wings in her dragon form, so we can assume that she can fly, which would be an extremely useful ability in combat. The only reason that this quirk does not rank higher on our list is that we don't know enough about it. For example, we don't know if it has any major limitations, like Ryukyu being able to use it only for a few minutes at a time, or something along those lines. As we learn more about this quirk, it is possible that it will move up higher on the list and be featured in an updated video sometime in the future. At number 8, we have Decay. Formerly known as Disintegration before its English name was confirmed to be Decay, this quirk is possessed by Tomura Shigaraki, the acting leader of the League of Villains. This is an emitter type quirk that works on contact, and it has the power to literally disintegrate anything that Shigaraki lays his hands on. The destruction activates automatically whenever he touches something with all 5 of his fingers. So in order to touch anything that he doesn't want to destroy, Shigaraki has to make sure that he touches it with only a part of his hand. There is no question that this is an immensely powerful quirk. Not only can it disintegrate a human body, but also much stronger materials like stone and metal. The reason Decay doesn't rank even higher on our list is that it does have a few drawbacks. For one thing, Shigaraki has to make physical contact with whatever he wants to destroy, and he cannot control the quirk completely, so anything he touches with all 5 fingers will disintegrate even if he doesn't want it to. The other thing is that it appears to take some time for his quirk to work. Although there are various interpretations about how long it actually takes Shigaraki to disintegrate something, we saw that during his fight with Eraserhead at the USJ, he was able to injure Eraserhead's arm but not disintegrate it completely before Eraserhead punched him and forced him to back off. Also, while fighting against Stain, it takes a little while for Shigaraki to disintegrate the blade that Stain is holding, so this appears to suggest that most of the time this quirk will need to maintain contact for at least a few seconds in order to work properly. And of course, this can be a serious drawback against a fast opponent in a quick moving battle. At number 7, we have Overhaul. Overhaul is the name of the quirk possessed by Chisaki, a member of the Yakuza whose villain name also happens to be Overhaul. This powerful quirk allows Overhaul to disassemble anything he touches, producing a similar effect to that of Shigaraki's Decay quirk with some important differences. Overhaul does not need to touch his target with his entire hand, only a finger is enough, and it appears to work instantaneously. He has some control over how much is actually disassembled, and if he chooses not to kill someone but merely disassemble parts of their body, he can then reassemble them again, and all of the past injuries and illnesses within the body will have been cured. Like Shigaraki, Overhaul appears incapable of simply turning the quirk off, so he wears special gloves that allow him to keep his power in check. Another drawback is that using his quirk appears to take a physical toll on Overhaul. It leads him to develop a rash and itching. But nevertheless, this incredibly powerful quirk that not only disassembles but can also reassemble people and objects definitely deserves to be at number 7. Number 6, Explosion. No, not that one, the other guy. Yeah, that's it. Explosion is the name of the quirk possessed by Class 1A student Katsuki Bakugo, and this quirk allows its user to create powerful explosions out of the sweat that is excreted from the palms of their hands. Instead of normal sweat, Bakugo produces a highly explosive liquid similar to nitroglycerin, and he is able to use it to create explosions. Bakugo can then use these explosions both as an offensive weapon and as a way to propel himself into the air. This is an extremely powerful and versatile quirk, and even though Bakugo is still just a student, he is already able to use his quirk to effectively battle both villains and fellow students. Thanks to his quirk, he was the winner of the final event of the UA Sports Festival, the Battle Tournament, although Shoto Todoroki, Bakugo's opponent in the finals, refused to use his full power during the battle. There are some drawbacks to this quirk, such as the fact that it is harder to use in a cold environment because it requires sweat to work properly. However, this is one of the quirks with the most potential in my opinion, and the incredibly quick progress that Bakugo makes in mastering and improving his quirk demonstrates its strength and versatility. At number 5, Black Hole. Black Hole is a quirk used by the space hero 13, whose gender, by the way, has not been confirmed, so all of you guys commenting that 13 is a girl, it's not confirmed. He could be a girl or a guy, we don't know yet. This quirk enables its user to generate small black holes that can suck in and disintegrate both matter and light on an atomic level, which means that this quirk has utterly devastating destructive potential. Black Hole is so powerful that it can be hard to control and is therefore very dangerous. It can suck up and destroy anything in its path, including objects, human beings, and even pure energy such as light. 13 uses the quirk primarily for getting rid of hazardous debris during rescue missions, but if a quirk this powerful ever fell into the wrong hands, it could wreak unprecedented havoc on entire cities and perhaps even beyond that, depending on what the limitations of this quirk actually are. The immense power of this quirk is undeniable, but the fact that it is so difficult to control is the reason that it doesn't rank even higher on our list. Black Hole can also backfire on its own user, as was demonstrated when Kurogiri used his quirk Warp Gate to turn Black Hole back on its own user at the USJ. For these reasons, Black Hole finds itself at number 5. Number 4, Hellflame. Hellflame is the name of the fire-based quirk used by the number 2 ranked pro hero Endeavor. The fact that Endeavor is the second most powerful pro hero is no coincidence. His emitter type medium range quirk is one of the strongest quirks in the world of My Hero Academia. Hellflame allows its user to generate and manipulate extremely powerful flames, which makes for a devastatingly effective offensive weapon. The user can create fireballs, spears, and other objects made out of fire, and Endeavor was even seen using his quirk to climb walls by melting certain points on the wall by focusing heat to the soles of his feet, allowing him to stick to the wall. In addition, the heat produced by this quirk can be increased to such an extent that the flames turn blue, and when they are this hot, the flames can destroy their target on a cellular level, preventing any form of regeneration from taking place. Another huge benefit of this quirk is that it can be deactivated when the user wants it to, so the user does not have to worry about constantly burning everything around him. Despite the fact that Endeavor as a person has many flaws, his quirk is without a doubt one of the strongest in My Hero Academia. Number 3, Half Cold, Half Hot. Half Cold, Half Hot is a quirk possessed by Shoto Todoroki, the son of the number 2 ranked pro hero Endeavor. Like his father, Todoroki can generate powerful flames from his body, from the left side of his body to be specific. From the right side of his body, Todoroki is able to generate ice, and he can use it to freeze objects and people around him, and he inherited the ability to generate ice from his mother, who has an ice-based quirk. Todoroki can even create giant walls of ice and freeze entire buildings. The one drawback of this quirk is that if he uses either side too much, Todoroki can suffer physical consequences, either frostbite from his cold side or potentially dehydration and exhaustion from his hot side. However, if he uses both sides of his quirk in a complementary way, he can largely counterbalance the negative effects of one side with the other. For this reason, Half Cold, Half Hot is one of the strongest and most versatile quirks in My Hero Academia. Not only does Todoroki possess the flame-based powers of his father, but he also has the ice-based power that he inherited from his mother, and this adds a lot more versatility to his quirk, and effective combinations of the two powers have the potential to take down even the fiercest opponents. As Endeavor himself predicted all along, Half Cold, Half Hot has the potential to overtake the power of Hellflame and perhaps one day become the most powerful quirk in all of My Hero Academia once Todoroki is able to master it fully. But until that day, it will remain at number 3. Before we get to the top 2 quirks, I want to give a few honorable mentions, including Mount Lady's quirk Gigantification, which allows her to grow to an incredible size and of course to gain incredible physical power. However, she is limited in confined spaces. Her quirk cannot be used in confined spaces, which is a weakness of her quirk. Also, we have Chronostasis, one of the new 8 precepts of death. His quirk appears to be able to either slow down time or someone's perception of time, like Rolo's Geass and Code Geass, which sounds pretty badass if this theory about the quirk is accurate. We also have to mention Kurogiri and his powerful quirk Warp Gate. However, he has to use his quirk to trick his opponents rather than take them head on, so he has to trick them in order to turn their own quirks on themselves or to transport them somewhere else. So for that reason, he is not on this list. We also have the quirk used by the number 10 ranked pro hero Gang Orca, which gives him the power of a killer whale. However, because Ryukyu, the number 9th ranked pro hero, ranks higher and also her quirk turns her into a dragon, we had to leave Gang Orca off this list. We can't forget Gran Torino, whose quirk Jet gives him the ability to jump high and move really fast, which also allows him to hit very hard. However, we don't know how much of his quirk quirk is actually the quirk and how much is his own skill and ability. I tend to think that Gran Torino is more powerful because of his skill than just because of his quirk. And also, his quirk is limited by how much air he can inhale. So in cases where he would be sick or injured and couldn't take a deep breath, that would be a big limitation to his quirk. Finally, we have to mention Best Jeanist, whose quirk gives him the ability to control the fibers in clothes, and he uses this very effectively to fight against opponents. While this is a great quirk when clothing is present, it will not be effective at all on a nudist beach. And also, did anyone else notice that Momo from Class 1A appears to be his kryptonite? The more clothing someone is wearing, the easier it is for Best Jeanist to use his quirk. However, the less clothing Momo has on, the easier it is for her to use her creation quirk. And of course, if you want to learn more about the pro heroes, the villains, and the students of 1A and 1B and all of their quirks, you can check out our videos on these topics. Links are in the description. And now, at number 2, we have All for One. Not to be confused with One for All. All for One is a quirk used by the mastermind behind the League of Villains, a man who also goes by the name All for One. All for One allows its user to steal the quirks of others and then use those quirks himself, including combining multiple quirks at once to create incredibly destructive attacks. If Todoroki's quirk is powerful because it combines 2 different powers, then imagine All for One as a quirk that allows you to combine an even larger number of quirks and use them all at the same time. This in itself sounds pretty incredible, but on top of that, All for One also allows its user to transfer stolen quirks onto other people. Some of the unfortunate individuals who have their quirks stolen by All for One are left in a vegetative state similar to a coma, and some people who receive a stolen quirk as a result of All for One are unable to handle them, and they themselves become mindless creatures capable of nothing but following orders, just like the Nomu. And if that wasn't enough, the user of All for One can combine multiple stolen quirks in one person in order to create more powerful super quirks that would never have occurred naturally. And in chapter 90, we learned that All for One can even forcibly activate the quirks of others. For these reasons, I think that All for One is probably the most dangerous quirk in the entire world of My Hero Academia. Imagine using it to create armies of super soldiers with artificially engineered quirks, which are more powerful than any naturally occurring quirk could ever be. I was really debating about putting All for One as the strongest quirk in My Hero Academia, and for a long time it was the most powerful one. But based on everything that happens in the manga, we now know that there is one quirk that is currently more powerful. And at number 1, we have One for All. One for All is a very interesting quirk because it combines 2 separate quirks, a quirk that stockpiles power and a quirk that allows quirks to be transferred from one person to another. As a result of the ability to stockpile power, One for All gives its user superhuman strength, reflexes, stamina, agility, and speed. Once the quirk is transferred from one person to another, the one who transfers it can still make use of some leftover embers, which is why All Might is still able to use this power even after transferring One for All onto Deku. However, these embers will eventually run out. The true workings of One for All are still a mystery, such as in the situation where Deku was able to break through the control of Hitoshi Shinso's quirk during the tournament arc. It appears that the previous users of One for All were somehow able to awaken inside Deku and bring him back to his senses. It also appears that One for All becomes more powerful as it is passed on from one person to another, which would make sense since the quirk stockpiles power, so the more people use it, the more power it's stockpiled. We know that none of the 7 users of One for All prior to All Might could defeat All for One, but once All Might gets the power, he is able to defeat All for One on 2 separate occasions. It is for this reason that I believe that One for All is currently more powerful than All for One, as All Might was able to defeat All for One twice. One for All does have its drawbacks, such as the fact that until the quirk is mastered, it will cause serious damage to the user's body. But All Might's power and strength demonstrates that once the quirk is mastered, it becomes virtually unrivaled in the world of My Hero Academia. Also, All Might tells us that to activate One for All, the user must clench their buttocks and scream "smash" within their heart, which is probably the best way to activate a quirk ever. And that is it, everybody, our top 10 strongest quirks in My Hero Academia. This is just our opinion, of course, based on our knowledge of the manga, anime, and additional material such as the character guidebook. But please feel free to tell us what your picks are down in the comments below. We always love to hear your thoughts, and our goal is not to tell you what we think is the only right answer, but rather to start an interesting conversation. And if you want to discuss the best and worst quirks in greater detail, you can join our Discord server, link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.